You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. You're all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions. Your phone calls. Expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. SEC, ACC, and Big Ten coverage like no other. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Get your Sunday football morning started off right with the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert, a 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football year-long and your DFS payouts. Your only true Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy, and your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Sundays, all NFL season long.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to
Pop stars with auto-tune. And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much, we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Saturday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Dixie Football Nation is back and better than ever. We got Tony Agolini, Matt Carr, Tones Ariola, Bobby and Angelo, along with Mac McGee this fall. Dixie Football Nation heads to the gridiron, talking ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and all the big games throughout the college football land. That's Dixie Football Nation, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Saturday mornings on the Armchair Quarterback Show's YouTube channel, going live. Or catch the instant replay.
Take the road less traveled in the newly redesigned Hyundai Santa Fe. With available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you get off the beaten path a little further together. And intuitive safety features that can help you see what's waiting around the bend. Plus, with generous room for 5 and comfortable available Napa leather seating, you can go for more drives as a family without driving each other crazy. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Me out to the ball game. Get caught up with the big stories from around the world of sports in just a few minutes. Take me out to the ball game today, weekdays. Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube. Baseball, football, basketball, whatever's trending in the world of sports, it's on Take Me Out to the Ball Game today in just a few minutes. It drops weekdays, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, as Wake Up Y'all is ending. Take Me Out to the Ball Game today on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Take me out to the ball game.
The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live, covering the AFC South and NFC South along with the rest of the NFL. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
CBS Sports Radio, your home for all things sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coast to coast. Great sports talk expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
The winning run of Ozzie Albies. He got a pretty good jump. Flew under the tag. Picked the perfect pitch to go on. And Atlanta, a single, could win this game. Austin Riley stands at the plate. Peterson is on deck. Here's the swung on, and it is roped down the line. It's going to rattle around, and oh, baby boy, here comes Ozzie Albies. He's going to score. The Braves walk it off in fine fashion. Oh, my word, the first pitch, and it is absolutely stupid down the line. How about that? How about that? The Atlanta Braves come back and score a run in the ninth inning, bottom of the ninth, and walk it off. This team has more lives than a cat. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the ground. Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers as we start this off with the little take me out to the ball game, old time radio show style, as we're going to get you caught up in what happened in the world of sports yesterday. The guys are on the way, and I'm Mac McGee, and let's go ahead and get this rolling. If you missed it last night, first of all, the Atlanta Braves, I don't know why that started doing that, so I apologize. The Atlanta Braves walk off the Dodgers. Great game last night. Great game on both sides. Well pitched on both sides. And Atlanta just came up on the better end. Basically, Chris Taylor made a running error that I don't know if it would have mattered because remember something, there were 2 outs. So there's no guarantee that he's going to get sent home. That he's going to get home, excuse me. But even with all that said, you can't be the last out at third base. That's a cardinal sin in all of baseball. I know that. You know that. Anyone who's ever played the game, watched the game, we all know that. So Chris Taylor, I'm sure, feels terrible about it. I'd be wary of him today. That guy is a champion. He's got a lion's heart. And he's bound to do some incredible things before this series is over. So I wouldn't sleep on him one bit. He is a heck of a baseball player. Remember, he's the guy that came through in the clutch against the Dodgers. Against the Cardinals in the first wild card game, the National League wild card game. And so I'm not counting that out one way or the other. The Braves got a big win. It was a fortunate win. Still got to get 3 more. You got to go 3-3. It's a race to 3 more, basically, because the Dodgers have to win 4 of the next 6 to win this series. The Braves have to win 3 of the next 6. Hopefully what that does is at least guarantees that Atlanta goes to a 6th game with the Dodgers, which would bring the series back to Atlanta. I just don't want to see a situation where Atlanta has to play an elimination game in Los Angeles. So we still have to get 1 more win to prevent that. And the best scenario would be to get that taken care of tonight. And then you're playing with house money on the road. Remember last year when they blew the series, there was no home field advantage.
It was all played in that terrible bubble in Texas. Nothing against the Texas Stadium, nothing against the Texas fans, but it was Los Angeles versus Atlanta, and it was the last time that we had to do it. We had to do it because of the lockdowns in California. Because remember, they were allowing fans in the stands in Georgia. We could have hosted it. I think they should have allowed them to host it. But anyways, that's last year. This is this year, and away we go. And looking forward to the action today. The other big thing that happened last night, if you missed it, so the small thing is the Atlanta Braves win, the Red Sox win. There was a lot of college football played. We'll get into some of those, but the absolute embarrassment that took place in Knoxville, Tennessee last night, where the student section threw number of things, including golf balls, other forms of trash onto the field at the Ole Miss players, at the Ole Miss coach, Lane Kiffin. Look, we get that there's a long history right there with Kiffin and the Volunteers as he took off a few years ago. Thing is, this is the student section that was all up in arms in this. I'm going to say that of everyone that was in that student section, zero really remember what happened with Lane Kiffin way back about a decade ago when he left Tennessee. So for that to be the ones that are up in arms, throwing the garbage on the field, you're a fraud, you're a fake, get over yourself. And you put a bad look on the Tennessee Volunteer fan base because of a bunch of idiot students. If I'm the administration for Tennessee, I ban student tickets for at least one game, if not a couple, to send a message of, we're not going to be embarrassed like this. We're not going to do this. We're not going to have this be what represents us. And so you missed it. They were throwing trash, golf balls, everything. The band, the Tennessee band, the Tennessee cheerleaders, they all had to go off the field because of all the debris that was flying. Ole Miss ends up winning the game. The small part of this was that Mississippi almost blew the game. Tennessee had a chance to win it at the end, which was the other dumb thing. They were getting all, I'm really surprised there wasn't a bunch of fouls called. That's typically what would have happened, and you would have made it almost impossible for Tennessee to win. But anyways, Tennessee got the ball back, and they had a chance at the end, dropped a pass in the end zone. Ole Miss ends up winning the game. Of course, other things that went on in the world of college football yesterday as we go to flip the page. If you missed it yesterday, LSU upsets the Gators. That was a big win in the SEC. It was a big win for Ed O to be able to come on and do some things with the LSU team that they get the win, and it keeps Ed O on the sidelines for one more week. We've kind of laid it out there. He's got a difficult road in front of him. He has so many tough games. I think it's going to be very difficult for him to keep his job. He's going to be an underdog in almost every game left on his schedule. And we know that LSU fans expect the world. They just won a national championship 2 years ago, and they're ready to run the guy out. Now, if that doesn't tell you that you don't want to be a head coach at LSU, nothing should. If you take the head coaching job at Louisiana State, you better get paid and rake them over the coals. because you could be fired within 1 or 2 years after winning a national championship. You can't even count last year. Last year was a pandemic year. So this is really the first year after the national championship year. They're 4-3. They're not terrible. They're okay. And away we go. All right, we're going to go ahead and get the show started here, and away we go here. Get set, because Tones and Joey are joining us.
What are you going to do if I broke into your house?
Clear my browsing history. Listen, did you know that the bird from the Twitter logo has a name? His name is Larry. Now you do.
CBS Sports Radio. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Your Sunday afternoon action gets going at 1 p.m. Eastern, and here are the lines. The Colts, 9.5-point favorites at home. 42.5 is the over-under against the Texans. Bears and Packers, Green Bay, minus 45.5. The number is 45. The Bengals are 3.5-point favorites in Detroit against the Lions. 47.5 is the over-under. Rams, minus 9.5 in New York, taking on the Giants. 48.5 is the number. And the Chiefs, 7-point favorites in Washington. The over-under is 55.5. Panthers and Vikings, Minnesota giving up a point on the road. 46 is the number. And the Chargers are at the Ravens. Baltimore, a 3-point favorite against LA. 52 is the number. Later action, beginning at 4:05 Eastern, Cardinals and Browns. Arizona is a 3-point dog on the road. 49.5 is the over-under. Raiders and Broncos at 4:25. Denver giving up 3.5. 44 is the over-under. Cowboys and Patriots, your game of the day. The Cowboys are giving up 3.5 on the road to New England. The over-under is 51. And Sunday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers host the Seattle Seahawks. Pittsburgh is a 5-point favorite, with the over-under being 42.5. And that's your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Armchair.
You might want to rethink that. Yeah, I'm a little bit older. I'll be 53 in a couple of days. I've had my neck broken once, my back broken twice. I've gone down in the Gulf of Mexico on a helicopter twice, and I've jumped off of a burning rig. Son, I've had more pain than you could possibly imagine. Now, if you'd like to experience some of that, if you ever get around McAllister, Oklahoma, do a shout out. If I'm there, I'll be glad to come dance with you.
Welcome to the Handicappers, your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert. A 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football, year long, and your DFS payouts. True Southern Football Kickoff Show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy, and your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers. Welcoming in Bobby the Kid with Joey and Tones Areola, with Stephen Troche and Sean O'Toole on the way. With your host, Mac McGee. Welcome to the Handicappers. Good morning and welcome here to the Handicappers as I get our video going here. And we're here already in week 6 and it's underway. Miami leads the Jaguars 7-3. They're on the goal line, knocking on the door in the first quarter over in London. And welcoming on to the show is Mr. Tones Areola. Tones, how are you?
I'm doing great, Mac. Another great day. NFL Sunday, as you said, already week 6. I cannot believe that. We had an interesting slate of college football yesterday. We ended the night with a little bit of shame in Knoxville. So hopefully today we have no problems in the NFL. But yeah, I'm looking forward to a day of games. Like you said, we already got London matchup underway. I'm excited for football.
Yeah, embarrassing night in Knoxville. Joey, how are you?
Doing great as well. Welcome to week 6. Where the heck is the season gone? I can't believe we're already here.
I'll tell you where it's gone recently. We got to pick up the pace on the W's on the locks, man. I'll tell you right now. We're not having a great year as a collective. I'm having a pretty good year, but we're not having a great year as a collective. We got to find a way to get Steven off the schneid. He'll be here with us later. He's 0-5 on the year.
Oh.
Yeah, it's rough. It's a rough one, man. I'm telling you.
It's not easy out here.
If anyone should be throwing golf balls, it's him. And I can't even hate a lot of his picks. A lot of his picks have been I'd say I probably would have bet on maybe at least 2, maybe even 3. He's just had a bad run. Very good record last year. So he'll be joining us. Sean will be joining us. Bobby's on his way here shortly. Let's go ahead and dive into the few games that are relevant in the AFC South and NFC South. The Bucs have already won, so we can put that to bed. And the next thing would be you got the Colts and Texans. Joey, any chance a 10-point favorite of the Colts doesn't get this W today?
Yeah, I mean, I for sure think they're going to win. That is a high number, but listen, this team, one of 2 things are going to happen here. Either they're going to fall on their face today or they're going to pick up and blow Texans out, which I think will happen. Obviously, the fan I am, but I'd be careful about the points. If you can get it 9.5, anything under 10, I would take it. I'm just afraid of that backdoor cover if it is 10. But that being said, I think the Colts play real well today after that debacle on Monday Night Football.
Tones, would you be willing to take Houston plus 10?
I think that spread is trying to trap people into taking Houston actually because of their performance last week against New England where they did almost win. But I'll tell you what, Jim Irsay's been locked in his room for about a week straight after that Baltimore loss, doing Lord knows what right now, prepping himself in the Indianapolis Colts for this game. I think that the Colts are here to knock the wheels off. T.Y. Hilton's back today. He's been the Dooms Reaper for Houston. Houston's always allowed big games to T.Y. Hilton. Then the Colts backfield is magically ready to roll all of a sudden. Marlon Mack's been running good, and you got Jonathan Taylor good, and today they're going to look to get Nyheim Hines going. I don't see how Houston covers. Mark Ingram has looked like dog crap ever since week 1. And so is the rest of their run game. Davis Mills has had good week, bad week, good week. It's going to come from a rookie quarterback this week. I think it's a bad week, and I think this is the last time we see Davis Mills for a while. That's another thing. The Colts catch a little bit of a break here to me is Tyrod Taylor was slated to come off IR this week, but they're going to push that back a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I ultimately think Colts handle them pretty easily. This is their wake up or break it off game pretty much for the season to this point.
I think the Texans have a very good chance of covering this. Biggest reason is I don't think the Colts will lose, but this is a game where the Colts are coming off a Monday night game and it's an early kickoff, and usually teams play sloppy. And especially, and it's a game against the Texans, I think it's going to be hard for them to get up. Both seasons are in peril. They're both sitting at 1-4.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if Tyrod Taylor was playing, I might take the Texans on the money line, but he's not. And Davis Mills, I think, will probably do enough. And I also think that Texas defense is a little underrated. So I kind of like the Texans with the points. Because now I'm seeing it's 10.5.
Wow.
And maybe they are trying to bait you into it. Maybe I'm just falling for it as a sucker. But it seems like a lot of points to cover in the National Football League. This isn't college football. You don't get Alabama versus Mississippi State very often in the National Football League. So I don't know. I've kind of got that game circled, but we move on from that. Tomorrow night, we'll do more of this tomorrow with Justin on the Titans versus Bills, but that is a big game in the NFL, but we won't really talk it today. But I will say this, from what I'm reading, if you've got A.J. Brown, be careful deploying him because they're going to have him on a pitch count for the next several weeks. And so if that's the case, I kind of want to see what he's going to do, how he's going to be used tomorrow night, because they're saying that they're not going to have him out there for a full snap count until week 10 is what they're saying. That's a month away. So what does that mean? It was kind of vague. Does that mean that he's going to be in there for 30 plays? Does that mean he's going to be in there for 40 or 50 plays? And he's just not going to be there for the full 60 to 70. So I've got to know what that means. And then also when he's in there, are they going to try to get the most bang for the buck and use him and throw to him? Or is he going to get I want to see how many targets he has tomorrow. So if you've got better options, I'm actually benching him this week in a few leagues for Cooks. And even though he doesn't have Tyrod Taylor yet, I have more faith that Cooks is going to get about 10 targets against Indianapolis in a situation where they're playing from behind than I do A.J. Brown, because Julio Jones is coming off too. That's pretty much my only. I mean, obviously you're going to start all the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got Diggs, if you've got Allen, if you've got Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, you got to put him in. But just beware of A.J. Brown, because when I start seeing that pitch count on a wide receiver, makes everything pucker. I'm like, I don't know. If you're 5-0, then you're not worried about it. You're like, screw it, I'll put him in there. But if you're sitting there at 3-2, 2-3, or 1-4, or God forbid 0-5, then you have to get a win. The only good news is if you've got a losing record right now, the season's longer than it used to be. So you are going to get that advantage of it. The season's not quite over. But man, if you're 0-5, it's time to get a W. You don't want to go to 0-6, because then you almost put yourself in a situation where you're almost in a playoff mode every single week. You have to win every single week, or what the season now is 14 weeks?
Correct.
Regular season.
Mm-hmm.
I think best case scenario in most leagues, let's say if 6 teams are making the playoffs in your league, it's worse if you're only in like an 8-man league and only 4 are going to make it. But let's say it's 6 or more. You can probably absorb the most would be 7 losses and get in. I'm sure there's some leagues where you can get 8. But man, you dropped 0-6. You're like, dude, I've got no room for error. And at that point, you're just blowing your fab budget, trying to find any way to compete the rest of the week. I already have a couple of leagues where it's paid off, but my fab budget is about blown because I was like, I'm not going 0-5, 1-4. I've got to get at least 2 wins at this point in the season. I think I still have 1 or 2 leagues of the 32 that I'm in where I have 1 loss. I'm not winless in any of them. There's a couple I'm like, I don't know how the hell I found a win in this one. Oh my God. Because I always go contrarian to myself, and there's always 1 or 2 leagues I say I'm not going to draft the way I draft the rest of them. That way, if there's a terrible injury, I don't end up with 32 teams that are just trash. But man, I got some bad teams. By the way, Miami ended up kicking a field goal. They did not get a touchdown, which I don't know how the hell that happened, because they were on the goal. It was 1st and goal on the 1. And we started talking. I looked back, next thing I know, Jaguars got the ball after the kickoff. And
what happened? I seen Jacoby Brissett. Was that a trick play, or was he actually in for Tua injury? I seen Jacoby Brissett's 1 of 1 all of a sudden with 25 yards. We'll have to check into that to see.
No idea. I have no idea, because I came on the air about 15 minutes before y'all did, so I have not been. I've had it on, but I haven't been watching. I did see Tua throwing on that last drive, so maybe that was like a one-time play. I don't know, because Tua was in when they were driving last, so I don't know when that pass took place. But if you're starting Tua right now, your team's got no chance anyways. So seriously.
Hey, and how about the Jaguars making their first field goal of the year today?
Well, I need more than that because I took the over in this game. So there's that going on. I just felt like these 2 defenses were missing a lot of pieces. So anyways, we'll move on from that. Let's go ahead and man, I'll tell you what. Watching this Jaguar offense, dude. There's one guy who's double teamed, and that's who Trevor Lawrence threw to on 3rd and 15.
They seem to lose more yards than gain them lately. It's like they keep going backward.
I'm hoping for a shootout because the injuries to both sides of the defenses, but it's not starting off terribly. If it was 3-0 at this point, I'd be a little concerned. But anyways, let's go ahead and start with the cold and bold predictions. Tones, I'll start with you. What are your cold and bolds?
One guy I like this week on the way up, bold prediction. I think that Kadarius Toney keeps playing better and better, the rookie for the Giants, and he's been added a lot over the past week in fantasy with their injuries to Kenny Galladay, Saquon Barkley, et cetera, to other wide receivers as well. I think that Toney's done a tremendous job of stepping in. They drafted him in the 1st round. They wanted to get him involved eventually. And last week he did just that. His past 2 weeks, he's gone for double digits in PPR leagues right now. I think he has a big day for the Giants because they don't really have anything else. And cold, someone trending down. I think Damian Harris, although he's suiting up today, it says he's playing injured with broken ribs. I just look at New England. Bolden keeps getting more involved. Ramondre Stevenson had 11 carries, nothing to show for last week. But I think New England needs to start winning, and they haven't really been winning with Damian Harris. So I think with his injury, he continues to trend down. I think he's the cold one.
All right. Joey, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the receiver department here. The guys on the way up for me is Michael Pittman Jr. Every game, he's actually improved in terms of catches, and he had his first touchdown last week. And I also like Patrick on Denver, who you mentioned a couple of times in the past. I know he's been on the up and up, and I think becoming a more favorable, respectable target in Denver. And then for my cold, I'm going to go with DJ Metcalf. I know some people might be like, wow, but he, I don't know, that Seattle offense, I think, especially tonight in Pittsburgh, I think it's going to struggle with Geno Smith, and I'm going to go down on him. So Pittman and Patrick up, Metcalf down. What happened over here?
I'll text you off air, but what you just said could be taken a different way. I'm not gonna say it, but it made me laugh.
Sorry, I didn't even.
Oh my god. We'll move on from that.
I'm gonna have to reverse the video and see it later.
I'll text you what was going through my head. I said, what?
Please do.
Anyways, we'll move on from that. Let's go ahead and get y'all's DFSs of integrity out of the way, because thank you. I believe it was you, Tones, that sent me the reminder this week.
Yes, sir. I set myself a reminder to send you a reminder.
I'm glad you did, because I had a hectic 24 to 48 hours with all the shows and the broadcasts and whatnot. And I saw that pop. I was like, man, I better do that now. I'm going to forget. And we're going to be again. So Tones, we'll go ahead and start with you. What is your lineup of integrity?
It was another week left scrambling without the Bucks playing this Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I usually go Buck heavy, but to this point, I had $100 left over. I'll throw that off the table to start. There were some things I just didn't like upgrades for. Sometimes that happens. I like Taylor Heineke today for 5,800 as my quarterback. He's actually been pretty reliable in fantasy, and I see the Chiefs and Washington football team have more of a high scoring game, as their defenses have both struggled to this point really, really badly. I like Aaron Jones for 7,300 today against the Bears. I think Packers are going to have to ground and pound to get to victory, and a little cooler day in Chicago might be, the way to victory today is Aaron Jones. I like Jonathan Taylor for 6,600 today. He had over 30 points last week, mainly off that big 80-yard touchdown catch or 70 yards, whatever it was. But I like Jonathan Taylor to stay hot today. Cooper Kupp, $7,900. I just think against a Giants defense, Cooper Kupp could be in for a huge day, get a lot of passes thrown his way. I'm looking at him today as well. And then I went wide receiver heavy. I also have Devontae Adams for 9,000. I think that the Packers offense is just going to have a good day today overall. And then if they do throw, which I think they'll run more, but if they do throw, come on now, it's going to be Devontae Adams. T.Y. Hilton for $4,100. I think this is a value pick. He always torches Houston. He returns today in Indy. Indy's needed another wide receiver to complement Pittman Jr. is late. I think Hilton steps up today, gets a couple grabs, hopefully deep grabs for this sakes. And then I guess I moved to Colt heavy instead of Bucks heavy. I like Mo Alley Cox out of my tight end spot for 3,100. I didn't have a lot of money left at this point in time, and I kind of looked for the best guy available that I think could score a touchdown perhaps. And since we've seen Mo Alley do it a couple times this year, I think he has a chance. And then in my slot, in my flex, I have Deshaun Jackson for 4,000. Again, same reason, Cooper Kupp. I think he could get past Giants defense. All it takes is the Rams to break one big pass, and that would be to do that. And then I think Lions defense, 2,100. I could have used the extra 100 and chose Houston's defense against the Colts, but I like Lions defense home against the Bengals more. Man, if that Campbell interview didn't hit home last week, Lions head coach, I think he's going to be coming to play today. That had me emotional. I think their defense could play good today. I'm all over Detroit.
All right, Joey, what say you?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to start with Aaron Rodgers at 7,200. Kind of what Tones is saying about the receivers. I just think he's just going to have a pretty good day in Chicago, as he usually does. Jonathan Taylor, I match with Tones at 6,600. He's getting hot. I'd like to see them continue the run game there. I'm going to go with, in my other running back spot, Williams from Denver at 5,000. I think the Denver offense relies on the run game heavy today. The Raiders' run defense is trash. Cooper Kupp at 7,900. I also agree with Tones here. I think the Rams are going to have a great day. Kupp in the slot will be very dangerous. Michael Pittman Jr. at 5,500. As I said with my cold and bold, that he's been on the up and up ever since week one, and he had his first touchdown last week. I hope that continues. Also in my cold and bold, Patrick from Denver at 5,100. I like to see him have a pretty good day. I didn't have a ton of money after I used my flex spot of Eckler at 7,900. I think Eckler has shown he can just be very dynamic running and in the pass game on that side of the ball. So for my tight end and defense, I went Hooper on Cleveland at 2,800, and I only had $2,000 left. So I did the Washington football team defense, which has not been good this year, but I'm hoping Patrick Mahomes turns it over as he has on numerous occasions this season. So that's my lineup of integrity.
All right. I'll go ahead and get mine out of the way because by the time Bobby comes on or whatnot, Real quick, my team looks like this. I was trying to get the app pulled up. Here we go. Aaron Rodgers, 7,200. Kareem Hunt, 6,200. These are assuming all these guys are going to play. I haven't seen the final injury report. Joe Mixon in Detroit for 6,400. Both of those running backs are going up against defenses that are top 10 in giving up yards against running backs. Then I've got Devontae Adams as my stack along with Aaron Rodgers. And I went ahead and really went dirty. I went ahead and grabbed Randall Cobb too. So I got Cobb and Adams. I'm expecting Aaron Rodgers to connect for a few touchdowns, and I would think but these guys both get one. And so my wide receiver, Tones talked about it a second ago, I believe, Tony from the New York Giants, 5,600. I feel like they're going to be playing from behind it, and they're just going to be chucking it all over the place. And Daniel Jones is playing. Daniel Jones wasn't playing, I probably would have laid off. Cook is my tight end at 3,200 going into Baltimore. Makes me a little nervous, West Coast, East Coast. But the Baltimore Ravens have given up the third most points to fantasy tight ends, which isn't normal. You're like, that doesn't sound right, but it is right. And then my flex gave me enough money to play with DeAndre Swift at 6,300. And I went with the Texans defense in Indianapolis for 2,200. Why? Because I had 2,200 left over. And I said, what is left? Screw it. I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice and hope it's a low scoring divisional game. Hopefully there's an interception or something goes my way. That's I didn't do a deep dive on the reasoning for it. That was pretty much just where I went with that. So there we go with that. Let's go ahead and start talking some lines. We'll do the locks here in a little while, but one of the lines I want to jump on first of all, I do have one question. I'm gonna have y'all are gonna set this lineup for me. I'm so pissed at this one lineup. So I've got Joe Burrow as my quarterback because the reason why I'm starting him is because that's all there's out there on the waiver wire. But he is playing Detroit. I've got Devontae Adams as my receiver. No issue there. Devontae Smith has already played. Everyone expected a much bigger night from him. He didn't really do anything. I don't even know how did he get some garbage time? No.
Yeah, because he I remember I had him in a league too, just so disappointing early on.
Nothing. Okay. I was looking at the projected as opposed to what he actually did. I was like, man, did he really score 13? Then I got Austin Eckler and Joe Mixon. No issue there. They should have good games, assuming I'm streaming Ricky Seals-Jones as my tight end because Pitts is on vacation. You know, when a team's 1-4, we don't really have time for everyone to go on vacation around here. But anyway,
it's like, get back there.
My defense is Indy. My kicker, who cares? But it's Hopkins. My question is, I've got to make a decision at flex. Now, this is a half-point PPR.
Okay.
Do you go with Kadarius Toney, who we've talked about, or Adam Thielen is another option, although I would lean more Toney this week. The other real option would be Chuba Hubbard, who's going to go up against Minnesota. He is the lead back now. So I'll throw it to you first, Tones. In a half-point PPR, would you put Chuba in there or would you put Toney in there?
That's really tough. Like you said, I'd throw Adam Thielen on the back burners this week for sure out of those three, especially with Chuba Hubbard's starting status and Kadarius Toney's starting status as well. With Daniel Jones playing, I do tend to lean to Toney in this game in particular. I think they're going to be playing from behind. I think his explosiveness is really, really rubbed off on the Giants in a positive way on offense. And I see him getting a boatload of touches today. I even see him taking a couple handoffs today. I see him getting a lot of receptions and screen passes, dinks and dunks, especially today. I think Toney finds his way into the end zone as well. And
even with Shepard and the other guys coming back.
Yeah, I think the big one being out for Tony's sakes is Kenny Galladay hitting the seat and Saquon Barkley hitting the seat. Those are couple target monsters there to fend off. So I think Tony still has a big day. Although Chuba Hubbard started might light up your eyes, but on a day like today, I think Carolina may try and lean
The
past
other
it.
one that I could possibly put in would be Darrell Williams, but I feel better about Chuba than Darrell Williams because yes, he's the starter now in KC, but we don't really know what that's going to mean because it's not above the possibility that Andy Reid just doesn't hand the ball off today.
Yeah, that never sits easy there. I agree. I'd put Hubbard over Williams for sure, but I'm going to go with Tony at the end of the day. You know, Minnesota's run D is pretty good as well. They're pretty stout as well. So I think they throw some fits at Chuba Hubbard, and I think Kadarius Toney playing from behind is the ultimate one to start.
Because I got to get a win in this league. Welcoming on the show is Mr. Bobby. Bobby, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Joey, what say you on this conundrum?
Yeah, I know this isn't going to help, but I actually like Hubbard. I'll let Bobby be the break the tie, but my reasoning for Hubbard is Carolina, they were so disappointed. My lock last week.
At least you didn't say, you know what, Darrell Williams is really starting to make me think.
I think they need to rely on that run game. Sam Darnold.
I've gone back and forth putting both of these guys in my lineup about 9 times since yesterday morning. I'm telling you,
we didn't help.
I read something, we can put him in. Put him out. No, put him in. Put him out. Put him out. Put him in.
Bobby, you want to break the tie?
All right, so Bobby, I know you're just joining us, so you may not have heard the question. In a league that none of y'all are in, so it doesn't affect you in any way. I've got a decision to make at flex. It's a half-point PPR. The scoring system is very close to the leagues that we're all in, if it's not identical. But do you go with Kadarius Toney in a half-point PPR or Chuba Hubbard? And that's pretty much the question at hand, because all the other guys, I can't imagine I would want to flip out any of these guys for the other. I mean, if I could turn back time, I'd take freaking Devontae Smith out, but that's another. That's a conversation we should have had on Wednesday.
We're shared to turn back time.
Yeah, I don't know why I start. I hate starting guys on Thursdays too, and I still put them in like 4 leagues.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on that since it's half PPR. I like Tony. He had a big week last week, and I don't think he had a great week, but I don't think he's going to be getting shadowed by Ramsey. I don't think he's really that status yet. I could see Shepard being shadowed by Ramsey more so. But I think just because it's half PPR, I'm going to go with Hubbard. I think the Vikings-Panthers game is going to be fairly high scoring, and I think Hubbard's going to get in the end zone at least once.
All right. I don't know what to do.
He still doesn't know.
This still puts me on the fence. I'll have to revisit this later because I also want to see, man, my team. That's what I've been doing all year. And that's why I'm 1-4 in this league. But the other thing I would like to know is the full status of all the other Giants players. In a perfect world, I find out like Shepard twisted his ankle getting out of the shower this morning, and then it's like, all right, let's go. Because I really think my concern is Hubbard has a lower ceiling, but a higher floor. But Tony could go off, and I could be going, "Are you serious?" And the problem is, I started stupid Smith, so he got me like 4 points, which means I'm already behind the 8 ball going into this game. That's my concern. Is that if I was playing it safe, if I had started a guy on Thursday that had gone off.
Right.
Then I would say, hey, go ahead and put the running back in. But I'm kind of leaning with what Tones is saying is because I kind of need a big game. Because if I don't get a big game, I'm hoping Ricky Seals-Jones sneaks in the end zone like twice.
Well, he's probably going to be on a team that's playing from behind today, so I wouldn't be shocked if he gets some action. But, yeah, I think Tony definitely does have a higher ceiling. But, again, he's going up against a stout defense. It really just comes down to who Jalen Ramsey's covering. Because the Rams
I'll just drop them both and just rid myself of the nightmare. Start Adam Thielen.
Start Thielen. Yeah.
Start Thielen and take the loss like a man. Javonte Williams time. Let's go.
It really just comes down to, who the Rams decide to put Ramsey on. Because if he's covering Shepard, then that'll free up Tony. Because the Rams cornerback situation hasn't been good.
Ramsey tends to go for the slot receiver. And so, but the thing about Tony is I think they're going to use him, put him in motion a lot. So I don't know.
He's gotten one carry each the last couple weeks as well. I think that goes up to 2 to 3.
That's the other thing, right?
I think it goes up to 2 to 3 carries today with Saquon out especially. So I think they're going to have some plays in store for Tony. And the way he played last week with all that spunk, I think Joe Judge respects that a lot. I think they're going to continue to get their first round pick the ball.
All right, we'll move on from that and go to some spreads. Actually, real quick, Bobby, give us your DFS of integrity.
Gotcha. For a quarterback, I got Matt Stafford for 6,700. He's going to go against the Giants defense. The offense of the Giants is completely banged up, and they'll probably won't be on the field much. So I expect Stafford to get some good points in. At my running back, I got Eckler for 7,900. He's the most expensive, healthy running back left. He's going up against the Ravens, which are 28th against running backs in fantasy. Eckler's been lights out this year. He started off the year kind of iffy, but he bounced back from that. He's been great. My second running back, I got Khalil Herbert. He'll be the main back in Chicago today. He's only 4,600 because Darrell Williams got COVID. I'm surprised he was still that low, but he's going up against the Packers, and I think he'll have a solid day for that price. My wide receiver one is Robert Woods for 6,100. I'm stacking him with Stafford. He's going up against the Giants defense as well. Like I said, I think that the Rams are going to be putting up a lot of points today, and I think Robert Woods will be involved a lot. My second receiver is T. Higgins for 5,300. He's going up against the Lions. Higgins he's only played 3 games this year, but he scored 17, 15, and 10. I feel like he's fairly reliable. I'm not sure how high scoring of this game is going to be because the Lions have kept games pretty low, but I see Higgins having a solid day. My third receiver is Hunter Renfrow at 4,900. I like him. He hasn't scored under 10 points at all this year in all the games he's played, which I know 10 points isn't a huge number, but for 4,900, pretty much a guaranteed 10 points is pretty reliable, and I like him this week. My tight end is Mark Andrews for 5,200. He's going up against the Chargers defense, which is 30th against tight ends. I could see him having a big day. I anticipate this game being pretty high scoring. 2 offenses have been very electric the last few weeks. My flex is Darrell Henderson at 6,000. He's going up against the Giants defense, which has been 30th against the run in fantasy. I anticipate him having a big day. I think the Rams will get out to a pretty big lead, and they'll rely on Henderson to kind of pound the rock away pretty soon. My defense is the Raiders for 3,100. They're going up against the Broncos defense that hasn't been too productive. I just see the Raiders holding them not too many points.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to some lines. An interesting line tonight, by the way, in baseball. The Braves are an underdog at home because Max Scherzer's on the hill. You can get the run line on it. You normally can't get a run line on a home team. Braves plus 1.5 at home against Scherzer and the Dodgers. The number to keep an eye on there, the Braves have actually played pretty well against Max Scherzer over his career. So, and the Braves are either 7th or 8th in Major League Baseball against right-handed starting pitching. So it's worth a shot. So you don't have to, the Braves don't even have to win as long as they stay within a run, and they are the home team. So there you go with that. All right. National Football League. We get into this, and the spread that I'm interested, this one, I got to get everyone's take on it. Packers -6 in Chicago. A lot of the money's coming in on Chicago, but Aaron Rodgers it's something ridiculous, like 13-3 lifetime in Chicago, straight up and against the spread. How confident is everyone with taking Green Bay -6, or do you ride the Bears plus the 6 and hope for a low scoring battle that whether the Packers win or not, that the Bears cover the spread. Tones, I'll start with you.
I think that the Packers cover in this one, and although the Bears had a nice game against the coachless Raiders last week, we're going to put that one kind of in the basket of more so luck than actual skill on the Bears' behalf, I feel like. So I think that the true Bears and the true Packers come to play today, and the Packers have been playing tremendous. I think they win by double digits today. I think Aaron Rodgers gets into Soldier Field, does his thing, and really the Bears' defense is not that good. So I think it could be a long, long day for the Bears. Justin Fields has not looked good so far to this point this year, and they're down to their third running back, although Khalil Herbert, I believe he ran pretty well last week. He did have Damian Williams in that backfield last week as well to help him get energy and fresh legs. So I think the Bears will struggle today. I think those struggles will run deep, and I think the Packers are going to cover pretty easily.
All right. Joey, what say you?
I think they cover. I'm not as confident as Tones is because he did allude to. I think the Bears did play well last game. They got the running game going. I got a lot of buddies going to the game, but I'm still going to have to take Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, just when he goes into Chicago, usually puts a dagger in most Bears fans' chest. So I think the offense for Green Bay really gets rolling. What they're going to need from Chicago if they are going to win this game is not the conservative offense that worked against a bad Raiders run defense, but they're going to need the big plays to Mooney and Robinson. They're really going to have to get a couple of 40-plus yard plays and hope to keep up because it's not going to be a low-scoring game, even though the Bears' defense has been playing decently well. So I'll take the Packers.
Bobby?
Yeah, I'll also take the Packers to cover. I think one thing that that the Packers are really relying on, though, is Mason Crosby actually making field goals today. They're going to need that if they want to cover.
Fired.
But yeah, I think the Packers will cover. Rodgers has always been great against division rivals. Yeah, I do get a little bit iffy betting on division games because they can tend to be closer than expected. But I think the Packers do cover. Fields hasn't really shown enough to believe that he's going to, keep the ball moving enough to stay within 6 of the Packers. So.
All right, the next game that I'm has my interest, Browns and Cardinals. Bobby, I'll let you start this since you are the Cardinals fan. The over-under is 48. The line is -3 Cleveland. There's no Kingsbury on the sideline because of COVID. It's supposed to be really windy. Of all the lines that I've been keeping an eye on in this game, the one that has my interest the most is taking the under. That thing started at 54 and it's already down to 48 because of the wind. Now, the only problem with that is you take a line that was 54 and they've made the overcorrection. Are you taking it too low? What say you, Bobby?
So wait, can you say that again? It would the line.
So originally the over under line was 54, but they're expecting strong winds in Cleveland. So it's gone all the way down to 48. I'm still thinking I like the under in this game, a low scoring game because of the wind. And then when you tack on the fact that Kingsbury won't be on the sidelines, there's an injury, I believe, to the Cardinals center, correct?
Yep, Rodney Hudson, yeah.
Yeah.
All-pro center.
So if you put all that together, I feel like it could be a low-scoring game. But have they overcorrected and is 48 too low of a number for you?
No, I'd still take the under on that. I like the Cardinals a lot, believe me. But I still think they're going to put up some points on offense, but it's not going to be as much. The offense looked terrible last week, and Rodney Hudson left the game. He really – I love D-Hop, but I think he's the second most important player on that offense. Rodney Hudson is. We did not look good at all without him out there. Combine that with our coach being out with COVID, and Hopkins, he's still questionable. I believe he'll go, but that's still something to look for. But I think our run game is going to be a lot more stunted without Hudson and going up against the stout Browns defensive line. And I think with the wind, it's going to be a little bit harder to pass. Combine that with the fact that we don't have a coach this week. It's not going to be easy. And the Browns, they're missing Nick Chubb. And Kareem Hunt, he's still questionable, and he's probably going to play but be on a snap count. So that's going to make Baker have to pass the ball, and I'm not too confident in that. So I don't think it's going to be a terribly high-scoring game.
All right. Tones, what say you?
I agree with what Bobby said pretty much for the entirety of his statements. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. And anytime you're missing a running back like Nick Chubb, and although the Browns have said, oh, we're going to continue to feed Kareem Hunt today. Well, he's banged up too. So you don't want to get him injured, because then next thing you know, you're down to, I believe, Dearness Johnson back there, and no Kareem Hunt, no Nick Chubb. So things could get ugly there quick. I think they're going to have Kareem Hunt on a pitch count today for sure. So that takes the Browns' main methodology of scoring out between Chubb and a limited Kareem Hunt. I see them struggling a little bit on offense. And then same thing with Arizona, given the fact that they're without Cliff Kingsbury and given the windy conditions over there. I think that they might have a hard time getting going as well. So I think it's going to be more of a low scoring game. I find it tough for both offenses to score in this one. I'd be like y'all. I'd roll with the under here too, especially in a 3 o'clocker. I just think it's an interesting game, good matchup. I'm going with the under.
Joey?
Well, man, the Dolphins and Jaguars ain't helping you out, Mac. They just
they're not.
They keep screwing. Every time the Dolphins get in the red zone, they call the dumbest plays. I don't know what they're doing. It's frustrating. I got a little bread myself, but sticking to the game at hand, yeah, I pretty much agree with what everyone said. It seems like it's going to be one of those ugly matchups in the trenches, and I think Cleveland's D-line could feast on the Arizona offensive line with their center out. So I'm just going to stick to it, keep it short. I think the Browns actually might win, but it will be low scoring.
Like I said, the under is what I like the most. I feel like that the Arizona's due for a loss. You're 5-0. It's difficult to keep winning every week, and you have the two tough divisional games. You're going across the country. You don't have your head coach. So I do like Cleveland, but that game could be as low scoring as it could be. I don't like giving up the points, but I don't like telling anyone to take minus 165 on the money line, because you have to give up too much to be able to get the W. If I did anything, I would probably tease that game and feel a little bit better about it. A couple more games to look at here. Let's start with Giants-Rams. Rams giving up 8 on the road, West Coast, East Coast. Y'all know where my head's at. But I grabbed this early in the week. It was 10.5 when I grabbed it. It's gone down. So with that being said, there must have been a lot of money coming in on New York. And I don't feel as comfortable with it at 8. At 10.5 on the road in the National Football League, I figure you have to play almost a perfect game. Everything's got to go your way. Now it's 8. The Rams are a high-flying offense. Bobby, what say you? I know you're big on Matt Stafford today.
Yeah, I think it dropped like that because Daniel Jones is back now. There was a lot of question on whether or not he'd play this week, but he is going to go. But with that being said, I still think the Rams will cover the spread of 8 points. They're a much better team on paper, healthy or not. But the Giants are pretty much ravaged with injuries. Their offensive line is torn up. Daniel Jones is banged up going into this game. Saquon Barkley obviously out with that ankle injury. And I think Darius Slayton's out, Kenny Galladay as well, and Sterling Shepard, he was questionable, and Tony was questionable going into this game. Overall, it's just a mess for the Giants on the injury report. I don't see him scoring too many points, and I see the Rams just lighting it up today. I think the Rams will definitely cover.
Joe, you got to turn your camera or something to where you can look at us and watch the game at the same time.
I know. I keep
forgetting. Pretend like you're involved in the show. Tones, what say you?
I tend to agree with Bobby here. I mean, the Giants had a really nice 3-game stretch where they beat the Saints, and then they narrowly escaped with victories against Atlanta and Washington. They suffered both those losses by only a combined 4 points, but that was before their injuries started piling up all of a sudden. And now you got a banged up Danny Dimes, you got Saquon down, and to me, although Saquon was still getting his footing back, that's a main piece still to this Giants offense, because if you don't have Saquon back there, you're really going to rely on Devontae Booker back there. It's like, I don't think they're fooling anyone with that sort of backup running back. I know his numbers, he averaged, 4.2 yards a carry or whatnot, but I don't think he's going to get going today. I have a hard time buying in to the Giants today. Although I did love him a couple weeks back against the Saints. That's when they had Saquon. That's when they had Galladay, etc., and a healthy Danny Dimes. I see them struggling of all sorts today. I know that West Coast, East Coast is always something to keep in the back of your head, but at a 1 o'clock kickoff, Rams are coming off that big mini bye week because they played last Thursday against Seattle, so they had 10 or 11 days to get ready for this game as well or whatnot. I just think the Rams are way too much for the Giants to hold today. Giants can't hold their own if they versed Alabama right now. I think the Rams are going to go in there and roll them.
By the way, Joey, because I know you've been locked into this game. Every time I look up at a pass in this game,
it's brutal.
Skipping across the ground from both quarterbacks.
Trevor Lawrence literally threw a nice ball, got out of the pocket, and the guy just said, "Nope, don't want to catch it." It was like, come on, man.
I'm like, if you're gonna throw these terrible passes, because you at least throw some pick sixes to run the score up a little bit.
Yeah, you might need a couple of those.
Joe and I were watching earlier, and Dan Arnold had a nice first down right over the middle, right in his hands. Up, dropped it. Didn't feel like catching it today. Sorry, buddy.
It's 13-3 as they're about to head to the half. I think there's about 2 minutes left, and the Dolphins are deep in their own territory. They're probably gonna now. Jacksonville does have all their timeouts, and they just threw an incomplete pass, so they may end up getting the ball back here. This is just brutal. What line did you get on it, Joey?
For the Dolphins and
yeah.
I actually have the Dolphins spread. I did not I just want to see. Yeah, so what was the over under at in this?
I got it at 45. I got it at 45.5. I believe it closed at 47-ish, give or take a half point. So I got it pretty early in the week when I saw Miles Jackson wasn't going to play, etc. And I knew I was going to bet on the game because it's a 9:30 morning game, and you just got to have some.
You got to have some action.
Got to have some skin on there, man. You can't be watching a terrible Jaguar versus Dolphins game and go, all right,
Hey, apparently it keeps my big head.
I do have a couple of fantasy issues, mainly because I have fantasy players from the Jaguars on my team. That's the biggest issue, but I do have James Robinson, but I'm kind of forced to start him. That I have no choice in that matter. Moving on from that, another game that I think is interesting before we get your locks here in a second is the Lions. After that big emotional speech, they're at home from their head coach. They're at home getting a field goal and a hook. 3.5 is the line at home. Joey, you give the Lions a chance of pulling this upset off, and it's a little strange that the Bengals are a favorite on the road to anyone, but the Lions, they've played teams close. I will give them that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't take the heart out of the tiger with Dan Campbell either. I think this team comes up and plays close like they have all year. I mean, if it wasn't for a world-breaking field goal make, if it wasn't for a couple of other things they had go wrong for them, they would have 1 or 2 wins by now. And the Bengals, I know they're 3-2, and a lot of people like kind of the direction they're headed in, but the Packers tried to give them the game. They couldn't close it at home. I think they come out a little bit flat today, and actually Detroit, I think it's going to come down. They'll cover, but it's still going to come down to a field goal on one end or the other. So I do give them a puncher's chance, and I would take their spread if I do bet that game.
Tones, what say you?
I'm going with the heart of the Lion here. I'm going with Dan Campbell. And if that post-game press conference did not make you go, holy crap, this guy, he's the real deal last week, I don't know what will. And although the Bengals have been playing some good football lately this year, I think they trip up in this one. Dan Campbell's lost 3 games now by a combined, I believe, 12 points. It was 8-point loss to the 49ers, 2-point loss to each the Vikings and the Ravens, and those were both on field goals. They could have beat the 49ers as well, turned the ball over late. I think Dan Campbell comes out today. I think the Lions actually end up beating the Bengals at home today. I think the Bengals are right there, but I don't think they take that next step and beat the easy team that they should with Detroit today. I think Dan Campbell's coming out biting on kneecaps, and I think that Goff, who's looked pretty efficient to this point, honestly, so far this season with limited weapons, I think he's finally starting to find rapport with Armand St. Brown and some other receivers. I like the Lions.
By the way, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines on the Vegas board right now.
of the road favorites.
Wow.
Holy crap.
That's not going to turn out well.
It's going to be an ugly betting day.
Yeah. I played a little goofy 3-team parlay for the ultimate upset in 3 different time slots, so I could hedge it if they start to go my way. I took the Lions on the money line, the Patriots at home on the money line, and then if both of those land Monday night, the Titans are at home. They're an underdog at a plus 205. So if I get the first 2, I can then go back and hedge my bet against it and take the Bills.
I screwed up last night. I should have done that. I had a 12-team parlay. I had 11 hit, and then Boise State missed for me, and I did not hedge it like an idiot. And
always got to hedge that, man.
I know. 12 teams, man. I went 11 for 11, and then
you have to always assume the worst is going to happen.
Well, you're spending time with the lady. Next thing you know, holy shit, that game started. It's halftime. Oh my, oh geez. And then next thing you know, you're just deflated.
You gotta tell the lady to just calm down.
Forget about the pumpkin patches.
Yeah, exactly. Calm down. Where do you want to eat next week? Applebee's or an actual good steakhouse?
Poor Apple.
That popped in my head because of the stupid song. What? Let's go ahead and get into your locks and your one big thing. We'll start with Tone with your lock. What you got?
My lock it has crept up a little bit to 44, but I like the over in Colts Houston. Actually, I know it's 2 quote unquote lesser offenses, but I think it's going to even 28-17, 28-16 gets the over in this game. I just think there's going to be some weird ways to score points. I think the Colts offense actually has a mini breakout game. I think I could see them hitting 30 points. And if they hit 30, that means Houston only has to get 14 points, 2 touchdowns in this one. 30-14, count me up for the over. I'm going with the over in Colts Houston. Lock it in.
All right. I'm showing 44.5. Is that what you got?
Oh, see, it's spiking like crazy. When I prepped for the show, I had 43.5. If it's 44.5, I'll still roll with it, but it's starting to get to the point where I'm not as comfortable, but we'll still lock it in.
Okay. Joey, what is your lock of the day?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Sunday night game and take Steelers. I have them at -5, even if that crept up to 5.5. I'm okay with that. I know Geno Smith had a couple of, nice spots last week, but I just don't. I think Steelers in front of everyone. A lot of people are down on them. I think they come out huge tonight and blow out Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm showing -5 right now, so
that's fine. Yep, cool.
Both of y'all are 2-2 on the year on the locks. Bobby, we'll get yours here on the next in the next break as we transition. One big thing before y'all jump off. Tones, what you got?
I think I got to ride the momentum after yesterday's one big thing. I had Purdue coming out on top over Iowa, and I think I'm going to stick with the little dogs beating the big dogs here. The Lions get off the schneid today. I think the Lions get in the win column. I think they're going to throw Dan Campbell on their shoulders, leaving the stadium, knowing that might be the only win they get this year.
And
but
he
no,
retires. Finally getting the win. Cries at the ceremony.
Exactly, man. After the heart he showed last week, I think that they got to get off that column, and I think that the Lions finally, for once, propel themselves into the win column today. And hey, one more thing before I shut my mouth. Thanks to London. Thanks a lot. Falcons, Jets last week. Jags, Dolphins this week. These are actually the perfect morning games because it's good background noise and nothing you got to surely pay attention to, but it's just good enough to get you through the crud of the morning. I'd rather watch a Handicappers myself, but if you have 2 TVs.
The Jags are driving, so maybe they get another field goal in here, really make it interesting for the next.
Well, we know Urban doesn't fly, so he must be driving.
Joey, what is your one big thing?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. We just talked about like the ladies entering the picture. Gentlemen, it's Sunday football. We got playoff baseball, pumpkin patch. Save it for a weekday after work. Get it out of the way. Today, lock into your chairs. watch the Braves hopefully beat the Dodgers, watch NFL Sunday, and let's get it. Colts, I need a big one here, but focus your eyes on the TV and sports. Pumpkin patch, make it another time or early in the morning.
You must have had some really bad episodes in the pumpkin patch, man. You're focused on that.
That's all I hear lately. It's like, come on now, we got sports.
What happened in that pumpkin patch?
I don't like the one by my house, maybe.
See, the good thing about living in Florida, it's always too hot to go, pumpkin patch, get out here.
It's only 40 degrees over here, Sam.
I'm just going to grab one at Publix and call it a day. Just sit out there and sweat around them.
Paint a little face on it.
All right, guys, we will see y'all next week. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Sean and Steven will be joining us. You're listening to the Handicappers.
It's important to remember the value of taking time for ourselves to do the things that help us grow and explore, like learning something new. And now with the Great Courses Plus, it's never been easier to experience the joys of learning. The Great Courses Plus offers thousands of streaming videos that cover hundreds of fascinating topics, from World War II to choosing the perfect wine. You can even take a course on the U.S. government or dealing with stress and anxiety. And because the Great Courses Plus partners with world-class professors and experts, you're always receiving thoroughly vetted, high-quality content from every lecture. Plus, you can watch or listen anytime, anywhere with the Great Courses Plus app. So take a little time for you. Sign up for the Great Courses Plus today for a free month of unlimited access. Visit thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio to get started. That's thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio.
Now, does anybody in here have a valid reason for leaving this classroom? Timothy.
I got to go pick up my daughter.
You're excused.
The mullet isn't just a hairdo. It is definitely a lifestyle. You're carrying on like a legacy, like your last name, you know? The people that did this in the 80s, they weren't doing it just because, they thought it was a cool hairdo. No, they were doing it because they were badass. You know, if someone asks if you want extra mayonnaise, you have to say yes. This is bringing back like the Paul Bunyan. Men, we don't shave our legs. We have chest hair. But yeah, that's the whole lifestyle of the mullet.
Armchair.
Big news and the big games covered in the Big Ten by the Armchair Quarterbacks all year long.
Just under 38 on 44 kicks this year. Nice high kick, got a little wind under it, and it runs powered by. Well, the ball is actually a little short of the 1 yard line now. It is 4th down, the final play, unless they can stick it in the end zone. Andre Johnson, Roscoe Parrish, and Kellen Winslow and Dorsey. Throws it. They went to Hickman, and Penn State well-timed the blitz. LeVar Arrington, the All-America candidate, came across.
Well, it was a great athletic play by LeVar Arrington. As you see, he times his blitz very well, leaves his feet, and hits Hickman in the backfield.
Big Ten football covered in the Southeast by the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Hi, this is Britney Spears.
What up, this Jay-Z.
This is Jennifer Lopez. Armchair.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks Handicappers, and joining us here on the lines here, we got Sean O'Toole and Stephen Troche. Sean, how are you this morning, sir?
I am fantastic. Did a very nice piece of business on Purdue plus 11 yesterday. So I'm looking forward to keeping my weekend going.
And Steven, how are you, sir?
I'm doing the same. I had Purdue plus 11. I actually had them in a parlay as well. A nice little $50 win on a $2 bet. So
I had them in a 4-leg.
I am ready for.
I had them in a 4-leg and I hit 3 of the 4. If Indiana had beat Michigan State, that would have paid off nicely. I had what was the 4 legs? I had them plus 11, Kentucky to cover the 21.5, which they did at the buzzer. Ole Miss to cover the -1, and then I took Indiana on the money line. And if I had just left that out of it, I would have raked. But
By the way, what a schmuck Stoops is. Calling a timeout with 5 seconds left. Down, getting your head crushed in. Dude, if someone would have gotten injured on that play, he would have never heard the end of it. And I never want to hear Stoops at any point in his career. If he ever gets upset that someone's running the score up on him. No, I never want to hear it. Because that is about as low rent as it gets. I saw that. I was like, what's he doing? What is he doing? I can't
looked to me like he had 50 on the spread with a heavy vig or something.
Dude, he did something.
He was into it. He was into the result.
Yeah, something was going on there. Although I think you just would kick the field goal if you're just trying to cover the spread. But man, something was going on there. So something ain't right. That's all I know. I came this close to getting Vanderbilt on the stupid underdog.
Oh,
and then they did Vanderbilt type things and found
they did Vanderbilt stuff. Yep.
God bless. I was like, are you kidding me right now? I kind of threw a dart at that. Came so close to picking LSU, but Bobby and Tony convinced me that this wasn't another repeat of the Kentucky conversation we had where, Florida's really good and we're going to go out there and really take care of business. I'm like, they don't look like a good football team to me. They're going on the road again. And here we go. And I should have just stuck with my gut. And I was like, watch that. I was like, are you serious right now? And then I'm watching the Vanderbilt game. I was like, well, never mind. This might turn out. No, it won't, because you're going to keep doing dumb things down the stretch, Vanderbilt.
Never change, Vanderbilt. Never change.
That was stay classy, Vandy. By the way, I was pretty happy that on a bye week, Florida State won as many games as Miami, Florida, and Central Florida.
At this rate, Florida State might beat Florida. I wouldn't.
At this rate, they might.
I'm not going that far.
At this rate, they might just cancel college football in the state of Florida for the rest of the year. Come on, I wouldn't hate that. I don't know. I don't know if they can get away with calling it COVID because DeSantis has dug in and said no. But we'll come up with something. Say I don't think it's safe for the kids to be out there playing football this year anywhere.
Treat it like iPhone releases. Call it COVID plus. We can't have any football.
We're just we're gonna look at this. In fact, the only team who's allowed to play the Tampa area, it's okay to play professional football, but other than that, we're gonna shut it down in Jacksonville, Miami, Tallahassee. No matter where you're thinking about playing, Orlando, not gonna happen, my friends. And South Florida, you're not allowed to play either. I know you're in Tampa, but that's different. It's much more dangerous on Saturdays than it is Sundays. All right, let's go ahead and get into the MASH report, Sean, as we got a lot of injuries on the wire out there.
Yep, absolutely. So I'll rip through a lot of them really quick. I'm going to kind of toggle back and forth between in and outs here. Dallas and New England, good news just within the last couple of hours. Ezekiel Elliott and Damian Harris, both are going to play today. So if you're counting on that Tony Pollard stock or that Ramondre Stevenson stock, you might want to temper that with a little less enthusiasm. That might not pan out the way you think it would. TJ Hawkinson and Jamal Williams both were listed as questionable for Sunday, both expected to go today against the Bengals. Tyreek Hill, who was listed as questionable due to a quad injury, is expected to play against the WFT today in what should be an intriguing game. In that same game, Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson, who both been listed as questionable all week, are also both expected to play. Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, DeAndre Hopkins, and DK Metcalf also all expected to play. Again, Metcalf plays tonight at Pittsburgh, but the rest of those are either early games or in the mid-afternoon slate as well. And barring a pregame setback, Mike Williams is also expected to go for the Los Angeles Chargers in a very, very important game, probably the game of the week at Baltimore for the Chargers. Players who are out today, obviously Christian McCaffrey's out for 3 more games. He was kind of suspiciously, weirdly on a Saturday morning put on IR by the Panthers, which means he can't be activated for at least the next 3 weeks. Saquon, Kenny Galladay, both still out for the Giants. Curtis Samuel still out for the WFT. Sammy Watkins is out for Kansas City. Nick Chubb is out for Cleveland. Kareem Hunt is still listed as questionable. I haven't seen any recent updates on that. Feel free to interrupt if anybody has, but the last I saw, he's just listed as questionable. I would imagine they would want him to play. This one just made me laugh. Zach Ertz is out Sunday. That just came up because a bunch of people, I guess, don't know the NFL rules and were asking if he could still play on Sunday after he got traded when he already played on Thursday, which he can't. That's not the first time that's ever happened. But it's definitely
That's
the
just
first
a
time I've
common
seen.
sense thing of you think this guy's going to get traded and fly across the country.
It was just I
like
saw it in so many fantasy. I saw it in so many fantasy forums. I couldn't help but laugh because I was like, this isn't the first time someone's been traded in week. I don't think. Schefter reported it's not the first time it's ever happened. There were like 8 to 10 instances in the fantasy football era of this happening. People were like, so we can't start him this week? No, you can't start him this week. He already played. Stop it. And obviously some quick ones really quick. This is for tonight's game. Juju, Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, all out. They're all on IR. You won't see them anytime soon. One small note, he's not expected to give it to go today, but the Broncos have designated Jerry Jeudy to return from the IR. So if you're sitting on any Jeudy stock, it looks like either next week or the week after, he could be activated to give it a go from that kind of grisly ankle injury he suffered in week 1. And that's all I have. If you guys saw anything that didn't pop up in the last 30 minutes when I checked it, feel free to let me know.
All right, let's go ahead and move on and get your let me see here. What do we got on the docket next? It is, I don't know what the heck. Oh, here we go. Cold and bold predictions. Bobby, I don't believe you've given our your cold and bold, have you?
I haven't yet, no.
What you got?
All right, some guys I think are going to have a big day. Darrell Henderson against the Giants, 30th. I got him in my DFS lineup for the flex. I expect the Rams to run away with this one pretty quick, and I think they'll run him a lot today. Another one I have is DJ Moore against the Vikings. The Vikings don't have a good secondary, and I really anticipate this being a high-scoring game. I think Moore will get involved quite a bit, and he'll have a nice day. The last one is Travis Kelce versus Washington. Tyreek Hill is going up to this game a little bit banged up. I think he'll still go, but he's still not going to be as involved, I imagine, because of the injury. And I think Kelce will get in the end zone 1 or 2 times today against Washington. Some guys I don't think they're going to have I think are going to have a bad day are both of the Cardinals running back against the Browns defense. Rodney Hudson being out is going to have a huge impact on that game. The Browns defensive line's great. James Conner will not look as good as he has at times this year because he's mostly the guy we run up the middle for in the red zone and stuff like that. So I don't think he'll have a big day, or Chase Edmonds. Another one is Joe Burrow against the Lions. I think the Bengals probably win this game, but I don't think it's going to be very high scoring. The Lions have kept every team they've played this year pretty low for the most part. I just don't think Burrow's going to have a big day. Another one is Josh Jacobs against the Broncos. The Broncos have the first ranked defense against running backs in fantasy, so I don't anticipate Josh Jacobs having a big day.
All right, Steven, cold and bold predictions.
I'm going to go with my cold prediction first. I'm sticking with running backs, but I'm going a different direction. Ezekiel Elliott has been super hot the past few weeks, kind of showed why he was a top 5 running back in 2018, 2019. But going into New England this week, a lot of sharp money has been on New England to cover the spread. And New England has just historically and this year been good against running backs. They've only allowed 1 touchdown to the position. They are in the bottom 12 in points allowed to running backs, but that is mostly based on volume. They're giving up the 9th most attempts. But the good news there is their 4.05 yards per carry allowed is 14th best in the NFL, and teams really do not target the running back. So I'm looking for Zeke to have a down day there. And if you're looking for a tight end streamer, I've been talking about him a few weeks now, but I think this is the week that Ricky Seals-Jones gets into the end zone. Heineke has been looking at him every single week. Chiefs defense just looks abominable. It's abominable. It's been bad. I think this is the week Seals-Jones finally gets in the end zone.
All right, Sean, what say you?
Yeah, cold and bold. Cold really quick, and it's really more of a price thing, but I really don't like the matchup. Devontae Adams at Chicago is going for $9,000 in most DraftKings and FanDuel formats. That's just a lot of scratch for one player. And Chicago's the 5th ranked defense in DVOA this year, and they're actually 3rd against the pass. I think they're going to double/triple cover him. They're going to force Rodgers to throw the ball literally anywhere else except 17. And if you pay that, you need that kind of production out of that price tag. And I just don't love it. On the flip side, Allen Robinson is questionable. He's been on the injury report all week. This is a guy that I love to death as a player, but soft tissue injuries are just kind of something that comes with the bag with him. And for almost $1,000 less, you can get Darnell Mooney, who's shown a lot of signs of life the last 2 weeks. Fields is really starting to do some interesting stuff in that offense where they're really booting him out a lot. And he's finding Kmet and Graham and Mooney a little bit more than Robinson. And this is a game where, look, I think Green Bay's the better team, and I think they'll win today. That might come up again later if Bobby doesn't steal my pick for like the 9th consecutive week. But at the same time, I think Chicago is going to be able to move the ball a little bit better than people think today. And Fields is starting to show some comfort in that offense. So for that price, I think he's 3,900. I've got him in one of my lineups. That's just an insane price for a guy who could finish with a top 5. One other one I want to mention, I've mentioned him a few times this year, and he kind of showed up on Monday night on a big stage. Michael Pittman is the Indianapolis Colts #1 receiver, and he's only at $5,500 in DraftKings, which is insane, going against the Texans today. Now, Taylor could eat more than they do through the air. That's always a possibility. But if that game's close, and it could be, because I don't particularly think the Colts are very good or even that much better than the Texans, you could see a lot out of, as my son calls him, the pit boss today.
All right, let's go ahead and do our DFS team build. God forgive me, I don't know whose turn is it. Is it
Bobby? Bobby went twice last week, so I don't know where that puts us in the queue.
I think I started first.
Who has not gone first? Anyone?
I feel like I haven't gone since week 1, so it's probably my turn.
All right, go ahead then. I guess
Okay.
Up with that, but I don't know where to.
I could do it. I'll start.
Start putting sticky notes all over the back.
So I'm going to keep it really, really silly simple. I'm going to go quarterback, wide receiver, and start with the stack there. I'm going to start with Matthew Stafford at $6,700 at the Giants. He's performed. I've made plenty of jokes at his expense over the years. I'm obviously a Lions fan. He's known as Fat Matford in my house. But for fantasy purposes, he's not going to have a better matchup this season than the one that he has today. An injured Giants team, especially in the back half, and he's just going to eat. And I'm going to pair him with the guy that's, despite my best intentions of getting Bobby Trees into the #1 slot, the guy that is just the #1 in that offense, which is Cooper Kupp at $7,900. That's a heavy price tag, but he hasn't shown me any signs that he's going to roll out one of these 4 for 40 games with no touchdowns yet, because it hasn't happened. And I just don't think it's going to happen today. It's decent weather in New York. They're not expecting anything crazy. So I think the Rams are absolutely going to boat race them at noon. And I stand to be wrong, because the Giants have done nothing but do the opposite of what I think they're going to do every single week this year. So take that with a grain of salt. But Stafford at $6,700, Kupp at $7,900, and we'll start there.
Steven, take the next one.
I'm going to go running back here. Going to save a little bit of money, but I'm still getting a solid pick. Joe Mixon at 6,400. He is he's got coming back fully healthy this week, facing the worst rush defense in the NFL. Who we saw Aaron Jones torch for 3 touchdowns a few weeks ago. We've seen almost every team in the league torch the Lions. Sorry, Sean, but no. Samaje Perine's going to be out this week on the COVID list, and that's just going to mean carries workload. There's no one else that's going to take any snaps from Joe Mixon. They have T. Higgins back, and basically the whole, aside from Perine, that whole offense is healthy. I think he's going to have a lot of rushing lanes today. 6,400 is a great price for him.
You don't have to apologize to me for starters, because this season's going exactly how I want it to go for the Lions. Yeah. They're frisky and competitive, and they're suck on for cave on, because Thibodeau's coming to Detroit.
This morning, I'm watching a national show. They're talking about the Lions. It's a point spread show. They're talking about the Lions covering, and the guy who's taking the Lions literally used the word, I think the Lions are frisky. I like them today. And I went, a lot. I was like, okay. Bobby, where are we going for the 4th pick?
I'm going to go cheap here and save some money. And I like this guy a lot this week. He'll be the main running back in the Bears backfield, Khalil Herbert. He's only 4,600. He looked solid last week when he had the chance, but with Darrell Williams being out with COVID and Montgomery still on IR, I think Herbert's going to have a solid day for that price tag.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and grab our tight end and trying to find him here as there he is. 3,000, get him cheap. Seals Jones, streaming him in a lot of leagues because
Pitts decided to take a vacation this week in the midst of our terrible fantasy football season. Decides he's going to go play golf, because my teams are all like 1-4. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Ricky Seals Jones and hope it works out well. They had Kansas City has given up the second most points to fantasy tight ends, so it's not necessarily a stab in the dark, but obviously there's more talent out there. But here's hoping that they go to him and go to him often. So that takes us back to Sean. Where are we going?
Trosh, I missed it. What happened to Logan Thomas?
He's on IR.
Oh, okay. I totally missed that. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave some more meat on the bone for everybody else, since I spent a lot of money up front, and I'm going to grab our defense. And for defense, I'm going to grab one that I think is very interesting today, and it's the Cincinnati Bengals at $3,400 at the Detroit Lions. Look, the Lions have had some moments this year, especially when they've trailed. But the place where I don't think Detroit can take advantage of a defense really is in the front seven, if the front seven is sound. And Cincinnati's front seven has been very, very sound this year. They have not allowed yards on the ground. They've allowed them primarily through the air. And no offense to the nice things I've said here and there about baby hands Goff, but he's not exactly a drop back and throw it kind of guy. They have to rely on play action. And if they can't get alive in the front seven on the ground, he's going to have a really long day. And I just think he's turnover prone as well. He's shown a propensity for fumbling the ball. He has the second most turnovers of any quarterback in the National Football League this year. So on that alone, Cincinnati is a great play at that price, because they could end up with a pick six, couple fumble recoveries and sacks, even if they give up some points.
All right, Steven, that leaves us with a couple of receivers and a flex position. Where are you going?
I'm going to go the flex here. Going to add another running back. Chuba Hubbard today at 5,900. He's at home against the Vikings, and they have been one of the worst defenses against running backs, currently allowing 4.76 yards per carry, which is fourth worst in the league. Allowed 4 touchdowns on the ground. And they're also giving up decent amount of production through the air, 28 catches on 30 targets. So I like Chuba to have a good day today.
All right, Bobby, that leaves us with a couple of receivers. Where are you going?
How much money do we have to spend?
We have 12,100, so average of about 6,000 a pop.
All right, well, I'll go 6,100 and leave you with 6. I'm going to go Robert Woods against the Giants. I'll kind of add to the – or I think – did we already get Kupp in there or no?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have Kupp.
But
do you think you can read off some of the receivers that are around that range?
But we do have Stafford. I mean, there's a whole litany of receivers. You don't have it in front of you.
Chase, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Keenan Allen, Cortland Sutton, Amari Cooper, Hollywood Brown is his range.
If you want to go more expensive, you can. I can grab a bottom of the barrel guy. I'm not scared.
I got someone in mind, and he was mentioned earlier. I'll leave you with a little bit more, actually. I'm going to go with Michael Pittman with however much he costs. I think
5,500.
5,500, that'll leave you a solid amount. No, I think Pittman's going to have a nice day against the Texans defense. I think there's no reason the Colts shouldn't put up a lot of points on offense. And like it was mentioned earlier, Pittman's the number one receiver in that offense. So I think he'll have a nice day.
Okay, so
that leaves you 6,600, Mac.
Well, yeah, I'm filling it out. So yeah, I know that. Thanks, genius. I'm just looking at what's left as far as the ones that are up high. I don't like CeeDee Lamb going against the Patriots. I really feel like that's going to be a low scoring ball game. Keenan Allen probably won't do a whole lot against Baltimore. That's a West Coast, East Coast thing. That game is going to be a little more sluggish than people expect. I mean, we got Stafford. What the hell? I'll go ahead and throw Woods in there. I think I don't see anyone below that I like. It will leave us with 500 to play with if we want to do anything. We want to add it to any of our players. If anyone's got any ideas out there, we do have 500 underneath the budget. Or
one of my picks, but the first thing that jumps out is upgrading the Bengals to the Broncos, who are hosting Vegas today, who's had, I can't even describe the week they've had with, a new head coach who's been in the league 38 years, but has never been anything but a special teams coordinator. And Vegas's offense has looked bad the last 2 weeks. So that one jumps right out at me and fits right in like a Tetris block, but you guys tell me what you think.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking as far as defense, if we're going to go up against a crappy offense, I kind of like Green Bay at 3,600 because they're going to be in Chicago. What does everyone else think? Because I'm open to either one. I think they're both.
Colts
are 3,500.
What's that?
I'm a little bit on the fence with that one. What was the Colts at?
35.
3,500 at home against the Texans.
I like that one too, especially since Tyrod Taylor's not going to make it this week.
Like DFS strategy wise, they are going to be the chalk play. Everybody's going to have the Colts. So if we want to, try to keep up with everybody, we play the Colts. If we want to make it different, I'd say go somewhere else.
Well, I say we try to make it different. So what's everyone's best guess?
I like Broncos.
I'll go Broncos.
All right.
Broncos too.
All right, cool. Then that's what we'll do. So it'll be Stafford, Mixon, Herbert, Kupp, Pittman, Woods, Seals, Jones, Hubbard, and the Broncos defense. So that'll be the our team build. And Bobby, that takes us to the end of you and your nonsense. What is your lock? What is your lock in your one big thing today?
I know you said it's going to be low scoring, but I'm going to take the Cowboys minus 3.5 against the Patriots. The Patriots haven't looked terribly good this year. And the Cowboys offense has been lights out.
Actually,
I mean, they look
this morning. Are you still on that?
Up to 4?
Yep.
Dang, it was down. It was as low as 2.5 at one point. I'm surprised it's going up that much. I'll still take it though. I'll still take it. I think the Cowboys will win big today. The Panthers kind of kept it close for a while until the Cowboys just kind of ran away with it. And I think we could see a repeat of that today. The Cowboys offense is hard to contain. So I'll take Cowboys minus 4.
I'm feeling better and better about my choice to take the Patriots in the points this morning. What is your one big thing?
My one big thing, Chargers are going to get a big win today. It's going to be a shootout against the Ravens. I like both of these teams. They've looked good, but the Ravens, they've been very close in all the game in most of the games they've played, and they're not terribly convincing so far. I think the Chargers are going to win, though. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a fun one, and Herbert will continue to establish his MVP campaign.
Real quick, to catch you up to speed, Bobby's 2-2-1 on the year, and Joey and Tones are 2-2 on the year, and then we'll do ours at the end of the Stardom Sit-'em segment. All right, Bobby, well, have a great day, and good luck to your Cardinals, and even better luck to my fantasy football teams.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Bob.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into it, as we've got a lot of questions that have come across here in the last several minutes. And let me see if I've got anything on the YouTube feed as well. We always hit those first. We just have Brian Cook losing his mind, foaming at the mouth about how bad the Hurricanes are. That's all I see right now. And let me see.
Hey, I'm still repping.
And the Florida Panthers are 2-0. He seemed pretty chipper at replying to my hockey tweets last night. So I don't know what his problem is.
Because hockey isn't relevant till what, April? So that's like, it's like keeping everyone up to date on NBA stuff. All right, let's go ahead, and I think these are just Brian Cook just foaming at the mouth about silly things. All right. He's saying pay up for McLaurin. He's banged up. He is going to play though, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Rivera.
He's expected to play.
Rivera said that being held out of practice Friday was just being super precautionary. He's fine. It's not injury is not serious.
James Robinson just scored.
Let's go.
I needed that desperately in that one league, the terrible league that has no name, as I call it.
I started him in the Nashville League, so I'll take it.
Let's go, baby. 40 yards, but he snuck into the end zone. And even more important, the over's looking better and better right now. I think Jacksonville just took the lead as it's 16-13. And if they hit the extra point, which they did, it's now 17-13. So already at 30 points, and this started the third quarter. I got it at 40. Where would I get? 45? Yeah, 45.5. So that's looking better. All right. Let's go ahead and hit these and if anyone has any questions, fire away here on YouTube, as we will stop with what we're looking at then and tweet that out. All right, so here we go. Ready? All right. Got to pick two. It's a full point PPR. Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, or Kadarius Toney. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Steven, start with you.
I know Tony did a lot last week, but Sterling Shepard's back this week. I think Slayton may be back as well. I'm going to sit Tony there.
Sean?
I agree 100%. I picked up Tony in a few leagues. I do like him as a long-term play, but not this week with Slayton and Shepard both back in the mix.
Let me ask you this, because I threw it the other guy's first hour. I've got a league that all y'all are not in, and I've got to choose between it. It's a half-point PPR. I think it's either similar or exactly like the point scoring system that we're in. Mm-hmm. Would you start Hubbard or would you start Toney? Because that's the one question I have as a flex.
Hubbard.
Yeah, Hubbard, just
all
not
right.
even a question.
All right. That was the consensus, except for one of the guys liked Toney, and like I said, I said that earlier, but I've changed the starter in that like 9 different times, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm gonna go ahead and lock it in with Hubbard, just hope for the best. And all right, next one. Do I play Hunter Renfrow or Tim Patrick? Steven.
We'll have Tim Patrick this week.
Sean?
I mean, go take a nice walk in the park and sit on a bench. How about neither? But I'll say Patrick if you have to choose one.
Well, not everyone's in 8-team leagues like we have. You know what I mean? Some people are in 16-team leagues. Like, what have I done?
Yeah.
Javonte Williams or Robbie Anderson? Steven.
Javonte Williams.
Just saying the word Robbie Anderson gives me PTSD. I'll say Williams. I mean, Anderson's been MIA this year, completely MIA.
Both of them.
It's coming. Just like there's going to be that 3 or 4 game stretch where he's the top 2 receiver every single week. And we won't see him again, but it's coming.
Prediction. Robbie Anderson has a huge game right before the fantasy playoffs. He is
actually update. I think Darius Slayton was announced is not playing today. Let me check that.
I might up your Toney stock. I don't know. I would still start Hubbard just because he's the number one, and Minnesota's not been good against the run. I mean, Detroit gashed him last week. So,
well, that really puts a conundrum now. So Slayton's not playing. The problem is I already had Devontae Smith go in that league, so I kind of need the high ceiling as opposed to the high floor guy. That's my conundrum. This team is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. The roster's not bad, and I've got Eckler. I've got Mixon going today. I've got Devontae Adams. But Devontae Smith was in my lineup. That's all I got to say about that on Thursday. Going up against the defense who's given up the second most points to fantasy receivers, and he does nada. Ugh, trash. But my prediction, Robbie Anderson has a huge game right before the fantasy playoffs, and he tricks everybody into putting him into the lineup, and then wah. All right. T.Y. Hilton, Rashad Bateman, Chris Moore. It's a half-point PPR. Steven.
I'm going Rashad Bateman there. First game active. He's I think second-round pick. Out of Minnesota, like he got rave reviews out of camp, and could easily slide in within a couple weeks as one of the top passing options for Lamar Jackson. If he's available in any of your leagues, go pick him up.
Sean?
Yeah, Ty is not 2016 Ty anymore. He's going to get targeted deep, but his utility is going to be more getting flags thrown on those plays than actually catching balls, which people who haven't watched as much Colts as I have, he hasn't done that much in the last 2 seasons. His catches have gone down.
I saw him getting picked up left and right in all my leagues last time. I was like, they really need the laugh out loud emoji at some of these things. So when people pick up someone, you're like, what?
That's one of those. I mean, there's Lord knows how many cliches or adages for that, but that's you're counting on prior production that he hasn't shown in the last 2 seasons. So I'll agree with Trosh. I'm always really skittish about rookie receivers, but as the person who watches probably the most Big Ten on this panel, Bateman was an absolute stud in a as we see now in Minnesota, very suspect offense. So give me Bateman.
All right. In a PPR league, Elliott, Cook. Well, it's too late for Robinson. Elliott, Cook, Gibson, or Swift, and has to have 2 running backs and 1 flex. So basically bench one of those guys. Elliott, Cook, Gibson, and Swift. That's a really good. It must be like a 4-man league. How in the world do you have Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin?
This guy's in one league with his mom. He's sending questions in. What's the It's a 2-team league. It's me and my ma. Like the Gypsy and Snatch. Me and my ma. Patty Winkle Blue.
Steven, who are you benching in that situation?
I mean, that's easy for me. Zeke was my cold prediction. I'm benching Zeke there.
Sean?
Yeah, I would say Zeke. Might come back to bite you, but those other 3 have a higher ceiling.
Yeah, in a PPR, if it was a standard, I might bench Gibson, but in a PPR, they could be in a shootout. And I know he's not necessarily the drug of choice on all the passing downs, but he's going to get his. 1 PPR, 1 point PPR. This is a flex question. Tony, Javonte Williams, Deontay Johnson. And that's it because Gaskins has already kicked off. So Tony, Javonte Williams, or Deontay Johnson? Steven.
Deontay Johnson for me all day.
Sean.
Yeah, because Juju's out. Deontay Johnson as well.
Yeah, I'm not sitting Deontay Johnson until further notice, basically. He's a must start.
The next one is, do I start? This is a flex. AJ Brown, Chuba Hubbard, or Josh Jacobs? Steven.
Doesn't he just he said start one or sit one?
Start one. It's start 1 flex. AJ Brown, Jacobs, or Hubbard.
I like Hubbard, the player, more, but I don't like that he has a 1 o'clock start time and AJ Brown has that flexibility. I'm gonna lean Hubbard, but I need to see it with AJ Brown this year first.
Sean?
I've been getting bit by AJ Brown all year. For all the dirt I just poured on Robbie Anderson's grave, Brown hasn't been much better. I mean, he was drafted as a top 10 wide receiver, and he hasn't even produced as a top 50 wide receiver yet this year. So I would probably start Hubbard just because I don't want to be sweating out needing 15 points out of Brown, and he gets 3 catches for 28 yards again, which is about what he's averaging this year.
By the way, too, has got 200 yards passing and a touchdown already, and it's midway through the 3rd. So he could be up to a pretty good fantasy day, as most people have when Jacksonville shows up on their docket.
I was about to say, there's another variable there.
I'm with y'all. AJ Brown, what concerns me is that there was a report that came out last night that said he's going to be on a pitch count until week 10. Ooh. Now, they didn't say what that meant or what his usage would be. And my theory was, I said this in the first hour, let me see how this week goes. Let me see what that means. If he's only going to play 25 snaps, but he's going to get 10 targets, I'm okay with that. But if he's going to play 25, 30 snaps and get 3 targets, I'm not okay with that. And so that's a tough Bills defense. I think Tennessee's going to try to drain the clock anyways because they're going up against Buffalo. It's in Nashville. I can't wait for that game, but from a fan standpoint, but from a fantasy standpoint, I don't even part of it. And I'm normally the guy who goes, I want some action on Monday night. I want to have a fighting chance, right? I hate when all my guys kick off at 1. I hate it because I'm like, you know, regardless, it's over by 4:30, right? You're like, all right, I either won or I lost. It's really bad when you're like, dude, I have scored 36 points and it is 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. This is not good. Someone put the foot on the gas. Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold? Steven.
Sam Darnold.
Sean?
Yeah, man, I can't start a guy who looked like Ray Liotta and Hannibal, got the top of his head taken off last week and had it fed to him. I'm just sorry. I'm gonna need to see another week of him being upright and conscious before I'm willing to start him. I'm not going there. And by the way, here comes Aaron Donald into town. No thanks.
I'm going Danny Dimes, man. I think that could be a shootout. And Darnold has looked like, well, Sam Darnold.
Jets Darnold. Yeah. Again, I will say that the Giants have been, and this is just personal, but I mean, when I've bet against them, they've hosed me, and when I bet on them, they've hosed me. They are the absolute upside down team this year, where whatever you think they're going to do, they do the opposite.
As I've said a million times, you're eating onions, spotting dimes. I don't know what the hell to believe. Bengals defense, Lions defense, or the Chiefs defense? Are you even kidding me? Asking or the Washington football team. So Bengals, Lions, Chiefs, or Washington football team. I guess this guy's going to stream. If he's got all four of those defenses, he needs to have a head examined.
I hope that's a free league if he has all four of
those. Steven.
I'm going to go the obviously Bengals.
Sean.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bengals there. From a defense, I don't want any part of that Kansas City WFT game. Neither of those defenses are any good.
We got one here from Buccaneers. I apologize because I just saw it. Brandon Cooks or Tyler Boyd. This is a non-PPR league. Non-PPR league. Cooks or Boyd. I mean, I'm going to have to go with Cooks because first of all, they should be playing from behind, and he's the number one option on the offense as opposed to. I mean, Boyd, he's standing in line by about like four guys. Steven, what say you?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree there. Nothing else to add.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm 3 for 3. Cooks is gonna have some variance because of who that team is, but he's the number one option, and Boyd just isn't.
All right. Pick one. Devontae Williams, Booker, or Hollywood Brown in a full point PPR. Steven.
Devontae Williams, Devontae Booker, or Hollywood Brown?
Correct.
I'm gonna go Hollywood Brown. He's really looked like at least a top 20 receiver this year. No, I like that to continue this week.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Hollywood Brown as well. I mean, watching every snap of the Lions game, he could have had 9 catches for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns. He dropped 2 balls in the end zone, which, when you Steve sacks like that, it could be really bad for your career. And he came right out last week and had a couple of really, really awesome catches against the Colts. He seems to be a real target for Lamar. I think he's very undervalued.
Full point PPR and has to choose 2. And then there's also a tight end question added on to this. So let's do the tight end question first. Is Jared Cook or Seals Jones, Steven?
Ooh. I mean, I'm going to stick Seals Jones there, but I love Jared Cook today as well. Baltimore gives up a lot of production to the tight ends.
Sean.
Wasn't Jared Cook the backup to Kellen Winslow the first? I swear, that dude's been playing in the league forever. But give me Jared Cook.
Yeah, he's actually the one that carried him off the field against the Dolphins in 82. The next question with that same roster is, in a full point PPR, you got to pick 2 here. Chuba Hubbard or Chuba Hubbard. His parents really screwed up. That should be Chuba. He's forever.
Should have 2 B's in it. Put 2 B's in it.
He's forever going to be Chuba from now on. Chuba Hubbard, Brandon Cooks, Sutton, or AJ Brown. Got to start 2. Steven.
Sutton and Chuba.
Sean.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Sutton and Hubbard. Yep.
I like Chuba and Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks comes back today and he can't wait for Tyrod Taylor to get off the freaking IR.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Sanders, or I'm assuming this is Hollywood Brown. Steven.
That's a really tough one. I'm going to lean Hollywood just because he has the more secure role in the offense. But Manny Sanders is looking strong this week or like this year. And like it's only a matter of time before Diggs breaks out. And tomorrow night could be that night.
Of the two, I think Brown's the only one that runs patterns over 7 yards. So I like Hollywood Brown. Sean, what say you?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that. I would take Brown though. Sanders is an excellent player for your team.
Touchdown dependent.
He's a better real life player than he is a fantasy player. And you're right. It's a lot of drag routes. It's a lot of 5 and outs. Unless he breaks a tackle and there's no safety on that side of the field, he's not giving you what Hollywood can give you, which is just over the top speed.
James Robinson has 60 yards, by the way, Steven. So, there's that going on. And they have the lead, so they'll actually use them.
Okay.
They got the lead. They were down 17-3 when I stopped watching. Holy moly.
17-13 Jacksonville with about 4 minutes in the first or third.
Oh, okay.
Now,
nice.
I'd like to see them pick up the pace a little bit because we're starting to do well on the points, and then all of a sudden they start trying to just drain the clock.
What was the over on that?
45.5 is what I got. I think it ended up at 47. But I'm hoping I need 2 touchdowns and a field goal is what I need essentially. Or for some strange reason, both of them go for 2-point conversions on the next 2 touchdowns. It was doing well, and then the Dolphins drove the length of the field and punted. So that just basically wasted a bunch of clock. It's like an SEC game in the mid-1980s. Like, thanks a lot on this one. All right, so here we go. It's Sam Darnold or Taylor Heineke time. Steven.
Give me Taylor Heineke today. That like he got McLaurin active. I think he can have a big day today. Sean, any disagreement?
Zero. I love Heineke today, and you watch some shows, man. There's a lot of Heineke stock being puffed today because Kansas City's defense is bad bad.
Here is another one, man. AJ Brown's a common question. AJ Brown or Jacoby Myers, Steven?
I'm not super in love with either, but I mean, AJ Brown has fallen this far from grace. Give me Jacoby Myers.
Sean?
It's what's the phrase you say all the time when I start bad mouthing people? Show me on the doll where he touched you. I'm done with Jacoby Myers, dude. I can't do it. Can't do it anymore. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I've been, what's the phrase go? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We're at like fool me time 32 with Patriots players in fantasy. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because I want to lean with Myers, mainly because the pitch count with Brown. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I was all set to put him in a couple of leagues, and I was like, never mind. Reverse. DJ Moore, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase can only choose 2 of those great options. Steven, Chase, Lamb, or Moore?
See, yeah, like how Sean feels about Jacoby Myers. That's how I'm feeling about CeeDee Lamb right now. He's been burning me all year. I love the other 2 individually. Sit CeeDee Lamb this week.
Sean,
I have little to add. I think he hasn't come up much today, but I think DJ Moore could be a top 5 fantasy receiver at the end of the day. And he's been top 10 most of the year. So
you cannot bench Jamar Chase again.
No, you can't.
In a dome. I mean, that's where him and Burrow first fell in love together, I mean, just no way. All right, next one. Williams. I think that's
got to be Javonte.
I think Jamal. I think it's Damian Williams.
He's out with COVID, so I hope not.
Darrell Williams.
Maybe it's Darrell Williams. I don't think it's Javonte Williams just because of the other options. Williams, Hubbard, or Knox? Steven, just one.
I'm going to go Hubbard there. I do like Darrell Williams today, but I think Hubbard's going to have more of the workload.
Dawson Knox for me is actually a really great play. He's number 4 in the National Football League amongst tight ends in fantasy and target share. And I don't think anybody is paying a lot of attention to him. He got a little bit of love last week for the long touchdown catch where Reed Sorensen just decided to go eat a sandwich as he was running by him on his route, but he's been very reliable the whole season.
I find it interesting, by the way. I don't play ESPN fantasy because I'm allergic to it, but I'm hearing, I saw this in a couple of tweets earlier this week. Either one of y'all in ESPN fantasy, because I'm seeing that is Cordell Patterson, is he only available at running back in ESPN?
I don't have him in either of my leagues there, and I'd have to pull it up and check.
Okay.
And I don't play ESPN either. So
yeah, it's the only thing that I found worse. It's that NFL fantasy.
Oh
my
nope,
God.
never again.
Oh, God. See, that one's already kicked off. Let me see what we got here. Okay. Woods, Booker, or Shepard? Steven. Or Allen Robinson. I didn't see that last one. Allen Robinson. So Robert Woods, Devontae Booker, Shepard, or Allen Robinson. And you got to pick one in a flex.
I'm going to pick Robert Woods only because Sterling Shepard's coming off that injury, but I'm not sure how healthy he's going to be.
Sean?
Bobby Trees all day.
Man, I swear, if the Giants can have a clamp down defense, we're gonna have a terrible day in fantasy. A couple more, and then we'll start our locks. We basically already did that once, almost the same thing. Emmanuel Sanders or Cole Beasley or Hunter Renfrow? Steven.
I'm going to go Beasley there. I think he has a more secure role over Sanders, and I'm just not liking the Raiders today.
Sean?
I'm going to say Beasley.
So Tua just threw an interception.
Uh-oh.
Yay.
Who do you? I'll ask you, Trosh, because I don't think the Lions are taking a quarterback in this draft. Who do you want most? Is it Matt Corral? I don't know that your pick's going to be high enough to get him.
I don't pay attention to college close enough to honestly have an opinion on it.
Oh, okay.
Not the guy from Alabama is what he's going to say. Not Bryce Young.
No more Alabama quarterbacks.
Corral has looked really good in the couple games I've seen of him, but I haven't seen enough of the quarterbacks to truly have an opinion.
Did he get hit with a golf ball last night? Is he okay?
That was insane.
That. I don't know if Sean knows what I'm talking about, or he's miming something. Anyways, let's get back to it. Yeah, that's the last one because all the others are pretty much. One last one real quick. Steven, Javonte Williams, Julio Jones, Darnell Mooney in a flex. You get one. It's a full point PPR.
Javonte Williams.
Sean.
I sang his praises earlier, so it would be incongruent for me not to do it again. I'm going to say Mooney.
I'm going to really confuse Simo is his name. I'm going to say me and Julio down by the schoolyard, man. I think if they've got AJ on a pitch count, Julio's going to have to catch, because I think Buffalo is going to take it very personally that they don't show up on another gift this year. Getting the stiff arm.
Yeah,
that's going to be. I feel like the play action is going to be there. All right, so that moves us to the dreaded locks. Steven, we're going to give you first dibs here since you're 0-5. We got to get you off the schneid.
I just want to get Tones and Joey's picks so I don't double.
Yes. So Bobby took -4 in Dallas, and Joey took the Steelers -5. Tones took the over in the Colts Houston game, which is 44.5.
All right. So over on Colts. 44.5. All right. That actually works for me. I'm going to go, this is about I locked in, I think either Wednesday or Thursday morning. Denver -4. I think the line's been between 3.5, 4.5, depending on the book you're looking at. But they have been they've looked really strong this year. They're 3-2 against the spread, and like all this John Gruden drama aside, the Raiders are not as good as they like. I don't think they're as good as they looked early in the season, and just that offense is completely different when Josh Jacobs is there. They really only utilize Derek Carr to his full potential without Jacobs on there, when they can just let him really run a pass offense. The Broncos are one of the best rush defenses in the NFL. I like him as a 4-point home favorite today. That should be
actually 5.
It's up to 5 now.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I think it was 4.5 when the show started.
It's been a solid 5 for a couple of days now. But anyways, do you still want to take it, or do you want to change it?
No, keep it.
Okay. -5. Denver at home. Solid play. The only thing I would be nervous about is that sometimes teams rally when the coach gets fired. But I mean, what are you rallying around?
Exactly.
I'd like to see that halftime speech. Canceled. Sean, where are you going this week?
Yeah, Steven, give me where am I for the year? I'm like, what?
You are 3-2.
3-2. Okay. Yeah, I remembered a couple that I had missed. And correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't heard anybody take Cleveland. Did I miss that?
Nope. Yeah, Cleveland is open.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm taking the Browns -3. Not to needle Bobby or for any other real reason other than just I think Arizona is going to have a tough time with all those coaches out, with Chandler Jones out. And I do think Cleveland's a better team. They're the best 3-2 team in the National Football League. They should be 5-0 by all rights, and they've let 2 games slip through their fingers in the fourth quarter through I don't know, depth or just poor clock management, so on and so forth. But they could easily be 4-1 or 5-0. I think their load's better than the Cardinals, who, you could take these teams' records and flip them if a few things went the other way. I mean, Arizona could easily be 2-3 or 3-2. And I don't ever like teams going west to east, but I really don't like teams going from hot to cold like that. It's not pleasant in Ohio at the moment. And I don't think they're going to have any luck moving the ball against this Browns.
It's supposed to be a strong win there today too.
Right. So Cleveland -3. The only thing I would worry about would be if it's low scoring and Arizona just keeps it close and it's like 17-16 or something like that. But I think Cleveland's far better than Arizona by the numbers.
So originally I liked New England, but I'm not going to cross over what Bobby just did because that would just be ridiculous. So originally that's what I liked, was New England getting points at home. And I also liked because of that wind, the over under in Arizona Cleveland went from 54 to 48, which is just insane. You never see that. It might have dropped a little low. I don't know. So I'm going to steer clear of it. It reminds me of, I don't know why this sticks out with me, Steven. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before. The Raiders went into Cleveland and it was terrible wind. And we took the under on that. And it was just, the under was like in the 40s and it ended up being like a 16-13 game or something like that. That's what I'm concerned with in that game. But at the same token, I don't know, 48, those two offenses, I don't know. So I'm staying away from that. What I am going to grab, because it's jumped up another half point, it's jumped up a full point this morning, which tells me there's all the money's going one way, which usually means that they're all wrong. So I'm going to take the Texans +11. It's now 11. I know they're out on the road. I know Tyrod Taylor's not playing. I'm going off of it's a divisional game. And divisional games usually end up much closer than 11 points. Both teams are 1-4, and Indianapolis is also on a short week. As much as I love to talk about the East Coast, West Coast thing, I also believe in short weeks. And when you're on a short week and the other team isn't, I think it's an advantage for the team. So I'm going to take the +11. As far as the West Coast, East Coast thing this week, keep an eye on Kansas City. Now that has actually dropped a half point in Kansas City's favor. It was 7.5. It's down to 7. But keep an eye on that line. The Giants line keeps going down. So the Giants are now +7.5 because too much money's coming in on New York. I grabbed it at the beginning of the week when it was 10.5.
10.5. I don't like it at 7.5. That's way too rich for my blood. But the other one would be LA Chargers are getting 3 against Baltimore. That I don't know. The Chargers are off next week. They might be on cruise control. And if they get on cruise control, Baltimore smacks you in the mouth. That running game might get real quick going, dude, can we get on the plane yet? I got some golf I want to take care of. The guys out there tackling hard. I don't know if I want any of this. All these things go through these guys' mind. We think they're robots. We think it's like when we play Madden. It's not. What is your one big thing, Mr. Stephen Troche?
My one big thing, I've been kind of touching on it all day. Joe Mixon is going to be the highest scoring running back of the day. This is the day they're going to fully unleash him. No restrictions. No one cutting into his workload. Joe Mixon is going to break the DFS slate today.
I hope you're right because I got him in a lot of leagues, way too many leagues. Ugh, I don't end up with Joe Mixon so many leagues. Sean, what say you?
Yeah, my one big thing is I've got the Bengals in our competition build, our lineups of integrity. Keep an eye on Burrow and Chase. Just keep an eye on Burrow in general. He's thrown at least 2 touchdown passes in every game this year. The Lions have the worst secondary against the pass. I don't care what the numbers say. It's the worst secondary against the pass in the National Football League. And they're just getting back, a rookie that they're really counting on in a crucial spot today in Amari Oruwariye to try and cover Jamar Chase. I can't say it enough. And I'm not trying to pump Ryan up and make him spill over his mac and cheese his mom just made for him in his high chair. But, it's absolutely going to be all Bengals today.
My one big thing, I'm going to contradict you. Not only will the Lions get their first win, but the Cowboys are going to lose on the road outright.
Okay.
People are drinking way too much of that Kool-Aid because New England struggled against Houston on the road. Remember something on that game. There were a lot of injuries to New England. They've got the guys back, and Belichick has owned McCarthy over the years, and there's something to be said for that. And I've got a crazy 3-team parlay that I'm going to put just like $5 down to pay out like a 20 to 5 to 1 odds, I think is what it is. If you take the Lions at 1 o'clock, the Patriots at 4 o'clock, and the Titans to win at home, all these are home dogs. And the Titans to win outright tomorrow night. If you get the first 2 of those legs, hedge your bet and bet on the Bills tomorrow night, and you're going to make something. That's a lot of ifs. But anyways, that's my one big thing. I think the Lions get the W, and I think the Patriots get the W. And if that happens, boy, I'm hedging a lot of money on Buffalo tomorrow night. All right, guys, great job, Steven. I'll see you in a bit up at the Brouhaha place, and Sean, we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Enjoy the football today, guys.
Good luck, everyone.
Have a great day, y'all. Thanks for listening to the Handicap.